Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Welcome one and all to John and Mike's MMA Corner.
MMA from a different angle.
And before we kick off with obviously our usual saga of laughter and seriousness, professionalism, we're going to start by asking you all to jump onto Facebook, Twitter, the lot really, the social networking sites, and give some of our esteemed colleagues a follow, because their hard work really helps not only us and yourselves but just MMA grow. So first up we have
MMA Scotland.
We'd like you to also jump onto UFC Wreckage on Facebook. Their Twitter handle and their website is MMA Wreckage.
We also have MMA UK, and their Twitter handle is We Are MMA UK.
Jump on to Facebook to Fighting and MMA.
We also have on Facebook and Twitter The Real MMA Talk.
And last but not least, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter. Can't miss them. If you like a giggle, you like a laugh, jump onto Funny MMA, kind of putting a light-hearted view on the aspects of MMA and the goings-ons.
I thought it was serious.
Exactly. So that's what you want to jump onto. Now what we're going to do is jump straight in to this week's edition.
I feel like we need a drum roll for this episode due to the fact of the astonishingly great news about Cage Warriors. The return is coming. The date has been set. We've talked about it for a while now. I mentioned Graham Boland and been teasing everyone. He's now set a date, April the 15th. It's a huge thing. It's going down in London. Everyone's interested in the fact that what matchups are they making? Who's going to be on the card? What are they looking to do now? Because a lot of the fighters, when they had them last on Cage Warriors, have either signed up with other promotions mainly, or they've probably even got fights booked already. You've got a handful of guys that went off to the UFC, a couple of went off to Bellator, my apologies. It's a very interesting moment to see who they bring in and what matchups they're setting. How big are they going to make it? Are they going to start small? Are they going to do a tournament for the belts? Because you've got the welterweight title, which is up on the line. Will they do a 4-man tournament again? I can't wait to see what they do. It's exciting. It's exactly what European MMA needed right now. They needed that injection. They needed that boost. Obviously the UFC are moving across Europe a bit more. They're going to Zagreb and going to Amsterdam. Amsterdam, sorry, they're going to, in Holland. So there is these other things happening, but the thing is, for European MMA, it's a huge thing they need. They need Cage Warriors. There's a massive hole left. It's happening. Great news. I just thought to start off the show with some great news with that, really. And I'm going to quickly mention as well the guest that we've got on. We've got 3 fighters that are going on the Shamrock FC card on the 30th of January. But we've got Yohance Flager. He's taking on Mr. Malcolm Smith. Then you'll have Julius Anglickas, who's fighting Eric Crittenden now. We had Eric on last time, so we've got Julius on this week. And we'll finish off, we've got Dustin Fischer, who's taking on Frank Cortez. We'll have those 3 guys on shortly. And also, we have the main event, the man who's headlining the Bellator card, this week's Bellator card, Andy Uhrich, who's taking on Paul Daley. He came back on to talk to us about his upcoming fight, so it was nice to speak to him again. So yeah, those are our guests this week. So I'm just going to go on now to the news about when it's the let's say stuff that's been going on. You've got Brendan Shrub coming out about saying how he's been banned from UFC now. It's strange because. Or he's not going to be used again, let's say, by the UFC on any of their Fight Pass programs, etc. Even though, let's be honest, I never watched that show. I never really paid any attention to it. I know they're all on the UFC network, but if I'm honest, they've got a lot on there that I'd love to see the numbers. I don't think they're going to be high. I don't think a lot of people are going to be tuning in for them. So no, I don't think Brendan's missed out on much. But again, he shows that the UFC, if you don't stick in line, they are going to literally punish you. They will punish you and they will push you aside and they will get rid of you. I hate it. It's a dictatorship. Why can't someone have an opinion? That's it's as simple as that. You can't have an opinion. It's conformity, you know. It's like society and life, you know. They don't want people to have opinions. They want people to get in line, shut up, and do what you want, do what they want, and that's it. So yeah, I feel for Brendan on that one. The way he goes about it, though, he could went around a different way. Big news, really. I say big news. Yeah, it is. UFC 196 got cancelled and changed into a Fight Night card 82 and put on Fox Sports 1. You know, the main event was the Cain Velasquez Fabrizio Verdum rematch, which I was looking forward to. I'm sure you were looking forward to. It was a match we were all interested to see because it was at sea level, which was the the essence, you know, the big question mark. Oh, can Cain handle going on? Can Cain win at sea level? Because that's what he proclaimed was the altitude last time. Cain dropped out with an injury. Then the announcement came that Stipe Miocic, was coming in to take on Fabrizio. So the card was still on, just a different matchup. Do you know what? It was a fantastic matchup. Stipe was man enough to step up on short 2 weeks' notice. Then we hear the next day Fabrizio Verdum has stepped out with an injury. Now, how serious of an injury it was, I don't know. It's still nothing's come out about it. Still nothing's been disclosed. It was claims it was a back and foot injury. The two are correlated. You know, if you injure your foot, it can affect your back, and you know, there's vice versa. There's many things that can happen there. Or is it the fact that it's a new opponent, a different opponent, and maybe they want a bit more time? You know, I think if you're in this fight game, you should fight anyone, whether it's 1 day notice or 2 weeks or 2 years notice. It doesn't matter. You should be able to say, yep, let's do it. I don't care who it is, anytime, any place. I know you've got a strap on the line, but you're the champ because you're the best. And if you're the best, you should be confident enough to beat anyone. So that was a bit of a letdown. I felt a little bit disappointed in that one, really. I was looking forward to the matchup. I was looking forward to Stipe stepping up to fight for the title. I don't know what they're going to do next with these guys, with Cain and Fabrizio, if they're just going to match them up on another card somewhere. They definitely probably put them as a co-main event, just to be safe, because if it falls through, at least they've still got their main event there. Like I said, it's moved to a Fight Night card. It means Johnny Hendricks and Stephen Thompson have moved up on the card to the main event. But the crazy thing is, or the sad thing is, Roy Nelson is co-main event with Gerard Rosholt. Now, that Rosholt he's just a stinker. I can't get behind him. I tell you, I turn over or I leave the room when he fights. He is beyond boring. Let's move on to the next bit here. In fact, you know what? I'm going to have a little sip of my cup of tea right here. Oh, that's the ticket right there. Okay. Yeah, Jose Aldo as well, ladies and gentlemen. Jose Aldo came out with a message for the UFC, not just for me and for you. He came out with a message saying he will not take any other fight than Conor McGregor rematch. That's the only fight he is willing to take. He says he's in a tough spot, really, I feel. With the UFC, in the past, he has been disgruntled about this pay and stuff going on with the UFC. To be honest with you, I'm not sure the UFC have really put the effort in with Jose Aldo as much as I feel they could have. And now Jose's now trying to reach out and get something back. Will that happen? Will a rematch happen with them two after they finish so quickly? Yes, it possibly could. But then you got to think about Frankie Edgar. What does Frankie Edgar do? Have the UFC spoken to Frankie before this message? Like, he's only just put this out. Have they already spoken to Frankie? What's going on? There's a lot here to answer. I don't know what the answer is, though. I personally feel that Frankie Edgar is more deserving of a title shot due to the fact that he's putting everyone away. You know, what do you do? Put him against Max Holloway next? It's not fair. It's not fair to put Frank against Max Holloway. You shouldn't have to. After the Conor Rafael dos Anjos fight, I think Conor should go in then to Frankie, because the reason why I feel that as well, if he beats Frankie Edgar, he's cleared out the division, and then he can move on, and then he can say that he cleared out the division. We'll see what comes of that. It literally only just got recently put through. A couple of good fights as well to mention was Khabib is coming back. Well, yeah, okay. Khabib might be coming back against Tony Ferguson. All right, yes, the fight is meant to happen again. Michael Johnson is injured. Michael Johnson and Tony Ferguson were matched up, and then Khabib has stepped up to take in that place. It's going to be a main event fight, 5-rounder. It's probably that matchup will decide who gets the next title shot. Even though Eddie Alvarez keeps yapping on for it, I feel like that matchup might do it, actually. I think the history with Khabib, beating Rafael dos Anjos, if provided Rafael dos Anjos beats Conor, is a huge thing there, huge factor. You've got Tony Ferguson, who's just on a tear. He's a different animal now. I've said this before, 2016. I said this year could be his. He could definitely go in and win this title. I think Khabib is the biggest challenge for everyone because he is like a blanket. He's like that blanket on a Monday morning when your alarm goes off and you've got to go to work after the weekend, and that blanket feels like the weight of the world. You do not want it. You can't lift it because it's just, you don't want to get out. You just don't want to get out from that bed. You keep hitting that alarm and nothing happens, and you just don't want to move. That's what Khabib's like. He's just on people and does not get off them. Tony Ferguson's got a great submission game, though. He's really deadly on the ground. He could really possibly cause problems. Ross Pearson as well got announced. He got a fight against Rosilio. He wanted a quick turnaround after his last bout. He didn't feel like he got anything done in it against Trinaldo. I said that as well. The pair of them didn't really get much out of it. They didn't expend too much. You've also got, I think the best bout I heard was Matt Brown against Damian Maia. That is a stonkingly delicious welterweight fight. Absolutely mega fight. I think it's a good fight to make. I can see why they've made it. You've got Matt Brown, Damian Maia. Then you've got Johnny Hendricks, Stephen Thompson. You've got Tyron Woodley in the background shouting for his title fight. There's 5 names there. You've got a lot of guys there who want to fight and get a shot at the title. You've got Robbie Lawler and Carlos Condit. Will they rematch again? I don't think they will. I think Carlos wants it, but I think the UFC see the fact that there's a lot of other matchups there for them to make for that title shot in the welterweight division. The rematch would make an absolute killing after the first fight. Do you know what? If they did it again, it would be amazing. I don't think anyone would argue with a rematch because it was so good to watch the first time round. It was probably one of the best matches I've seen. Like I say, the final round was insane. Carlos Condit, man, he looked so good considering he hasn't fought that much. That welterweight division. It's like the lightweight division. It's just too many questions. I'd hate to be the matchmaker in there. Wow, I'm just a bit stuck on those cards there. So what I'm going to do, I want to stick a couple of guests on first before I carry on with the Bellator card coming up. And you know what? Considering that he's on the card, I think it's only fair that I will leave him until I start talking about this card, okay? So I'm going to leave Andy till I start talking about the Bellator card. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick on the 3 gentlemen I spoke about before. Dustin Fischer, Julius Anglickas, and then Yohance Flager, okay? We got these guys now. They're going to come on, have a little chinwag with me. It was good to have them on. Here they are. We are joined with Dustin. Now, Dustin, just before I start, I'm going to let people know that you're fighting on the Shamrock FC card coming up. You've been out for a little bit, though, haven't you? It seems like you've had a little break from what I can see from looking at your background. What's been happening?
Yeah, I've been almost out for almost 2 years now. Suffered a back injury, and I took some time off to heal, kind of recoup, get my body back to where it needed to be. And I started feeling good again, and came back to it. Already got me a fight lined up and ready to go.
I was going to say, because you were on a really good roll before the injury. Did you have the injury while you were still competing, or while you were still fighting, or did it happen after your last fight and then you injured it? What was the circumstances?
I actually injured it while I was still competing. It happened during a training session, but just being a tough guy that I try to be, I try to push through it and just keep going, but eventually it just kind of caught up to me. My body, I started listening to my body, it told me I needed to take a little time off, healed up. I'm only 25 years old. Just take some time off, heal, get back to where you are, and then, just jump back in there.
I was going to say, it was a very smart decision taking so long off, especially with such an injury with your back. That's something you can't rush those kind of things, because it will come back to bite you on the ass, essentially, and you could be out, full time. I suppose that with the rehab, obviously went with a lot of strength and conditioning, I imagine, to strengthen your back. What have you been doing then with this time off?
I've been doing a lot of rehab, like you said. I've been seeing different specialists. They got me doing different movements, and I've been doing a lot of strength training in my time off. I've been lifting a lot of weights, trying to get my size a lot bigger. I've gained a lot more strength in this year and a half, and put on some size. And I started doing jiu-jitsu before I came back to training. I wanted to tighten up my ground game and just kind of get back to my normal self, And I started lifting, getting back strong. Body started feeling great, and then I talked to Jesse and Rob up here at Finney's, and first day back, they already had me a fight lined up, ready to go.
With obviously, like you say, like rehab, have you done anything like yoga or stuff like that? Just to open the flexibility of the back as well, to make sure that it's limber enough.
Yeah, actually, funny you said that, because my fiance started doing yoga, and I actually went with her a few times, and that's actually one thing the specialist told me I needed to do is more stretching, and needed to work on my flexibility more. And I think that's what caused the injury, is not enough stretching and not enough just taking care of my body. But doing this yoga, I mean, that's no joke. It's not just for women. I mean, that's a serious thing.
Hey Dustin, I am with you on that. I had when I was training, and I couldn't do a triangle. I couldn't actually get anyone in a triangle. Like, my coach at the time was pressing my foot down to try and get my foot behind my knee, and he couldn't even get it anywhere. He couldn't get it lower than, like, say, midway past my calf. He wouldn't get it any further because I just didn't have the flexibility in my hips. So I ended up speaking to a friend of mine who, she is into yoga, and she was a yoga instructor actually. And what happened was, I went there and did yoga, and you're right, it's not just some women just sitting around doing nothing. It's really hard, man. I was sweating I was absolutely sweating my tits off. I was absolutely hanging out. I wasn't getting anywhere near the level of flexibility these women were. They made it look easy. I'm absolutely dying trying to even just do something simple like touch my toes, and I couldn't believe how weak and useless I was in it, and they were just killing it. They were absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It works though. Do you know what? I did it, and I tell you what, my triangles came along. Everything in especially in the grappling side of things, my jiu-jitsu, everything got a lot more fluid because of the flexibility that I had. And a lot of that. Sorry, mate. Go on.
I was just saying, I think, that whole flexibility plays a big part in jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and it just makes it that much easier for me to do all these moves and these techniques. My body's able to flow more. I'm able to just move in a rhythm that I wasn't able to before, and it feels great.
Your opponent, Frank Cortez, that you're taking on, like I said, you've been out for a little while, and this is your first fight back. With coming back now, are you going to basically look to try and just have a couple of fights and go to the pro ranks? Because you were doing so well at amateur anyway. Are you just looking to maybe get, I wouldn't say it was ring rust, but you're looking just to get yourself back in the swing of things? Is the pro rank something you're looking to go to next? What's the sketch?
Yeah, before my injury, I think I was on that verge of pro. I think I was almost done with amateurs, and then, next step would have been pros. But then the injury occurred, and I definitely want to take a few fights, probably at least 2 more fights at amateur. So, like you said, kind of get those nerves out of me again, get back in there, get comfortable again, and then just go from there. It's always been a dream. I've always wanted to be a pro fighter, just like hundreds of other people. But I'm so close to finally achieving that dream, and all I got to do is just push a little further and just work as hard as I've been working.
Yeah, and the good thing is, it's not about rushing it either. Like you said, you want to have a couple of amateur fights just to get yourself back in it again, because you had that flow, and then you just want to get it back. And once it's there, do you know what? It won't take long again. That muscle memory comes back, that kind of, being back in the cage, the feel of it as well, the pressure and all that. It will come, it'll just hit a couple fights, and then you'll be able to go, obviously, move on to those pro ranks and start making a name for yourself there as well.
Yeah, definitely. About 80% of the guys I train with up here at Finney's, they're all pro fighters, and these are really tough guys. I mean, they're all good in different aspects, and they're all helping me just put a whole game plan together just to make everything work together. My striking, my grappling, my wrestling, just making it all flow into one. And I feel like, training with these guys, they've all been pro for a while. Some have been in the UFC, Bellator. I feel very comfortable and very confident against anybody I go up against, whether it's an amateur or a pro.
It does help having those people around you, especially because they can pass on simple little tips and hints, basically from the mistakes that they've made. When they've been up at those, like say the UFC and Bellator level, they've obviously all made mistakes in their career. Everyone makes a mistake, and the key is to pass that on so people can learn from it.
Exactly, and the coaches here are unbelievable at Finney's. I mean, if you do something wrong, they'll stop you. They'll show you the exact way to do it, and they'll just, it's just repetition. It's all technique. And I'd rather make 100 mistakes in the gym and then be perfect the night of the fight than go into my fight and make all these mistakes that I could have been working on my whole training camp.
Oh, that's exactly right. The last thing you want to be. Guys can go to the gym and then no one will put, maybe they'll never get a triangle put onto them or something, and they'll constantly maybe stop getting put out. They'll never let it get, maybe, do you know when you get to that triangle, I'm using this submission as an example, where it's like 3/4 of the way on, it's not quite got locked in, but there's still that little chance to get that escape in. Some guys don't even get that far when they train. They get they'll stop the leg going over the shoulder and they'll move on. And when it comes to a fight, they'll get to a situation where it is 3/4 of the way on, and they'll panic and they won't be thinking, and they need a drill. They need to get used to getting. They need to in the drill when they drill. They need to literally start with a triangle whacked on, full whack. That's it. Now get out. Now see how you handle that pressure, because when you can handle it in the gym, then you can handle it in the cage.
Exactly. I could not agree with you more.
It's some guys, they don't. It is good to know that you're not getting caught with the triangle. It's good to know that you're seeing it, or any submission. If you can see it coming before it lands, it's always a good thing. But sometimes when you're training, you should let it slip. I always say that guys that train UFC, just let it happen sometimes. I used to let guys go to jump to side control when we start rolling. I'll just kind of fall back and I'd let them go to side control because I want to start in a bad position. I want to be on my back in a bad place. I'd let them get into mount. Okay, I'm in mount, right? Let's get in. Okay, I'll get the half guard from mount. Then I'll get them back into mount because I want to constantly get out of those bad positions so that it's just second nature. It's not a bad position. It's somewhere I've been before.
Exactly, and I'm the same way. I focus on my strengths, but I focus on my weaknesses too. And I start on my back because, same thing you just said. I'll start with somebody in my side control. That way, if for some reason I get put in there in a fight, I won't panic. I'll know exactly what to do. And it's frustrating in training. It's so frustrating because it's my weakest position. I hate drilling it, but I know this is the stuff that's going to pay off in the long run. This is what's going to help me win these fights, keep moving up, and just keep bettering myself.
I am with you, Dustin. If I could get inside control on top of someone, I would do it all day long. I love being there, but you have to do it, man. It sucks, doesn't it? You have to sit there in turtle when someone's got a one hook in and just have them trying to rip your neck out, and you've just got to suck it up and get on with it. Yeah, it sucks, but it tell you what, it pays off big time, man. It really does. You said you were doing a lot of strength conditioning, jiu-jitsu in time off. Was there anything else you went off and done? Was there anything? Have you maybe looked at yourself on videos of your previous fights that you maybe need to work on? Maybe guys don't work on footwork or head movement. Sometimes it's some of the fundamentals in striking isn't always applied in MMA because there is so much taken. Sometimes some's left out. So like I say, a head movement, a simple slip of the jab. A lot of people don't do it. But is there anything like that you've been looking to work on?
That is a great question. That's not something I did in my off time. I just focused kind of on the jiu-jitsu and strength training. But from the beginning of my camp until now, I focused an awful lot on my striking. Because I think by now, anybody that I go against knows that I like grappling. I like jiu-jitsu. But recently, if I do want to go to the pros, I'm going to have to learn how to stand, and I'm going to have to learn how to strike with some of these guys. So that's what I've been working on. I've been trying to work on my speed, finding my distance between taller opponents, shorter opponents, bigger opponents, smaller opponents. And, we have two great striking coaches. And they both with me tremendously. They're both great guys. I mean, fighters, so they know what they're talking about. They've had major success, and I have a privilege of them sharing their knowledge with me. And I mean, anybody who's in there, the difference. When I stand to where I am, I feel great and I feel pounded.
Dustin, it sounds like you've got a nice set of coaches, like you say. You've got the striking coach who can help you out. It does help having more than one striking coach because they'll maybe if you're working with one for so long, a new pair of eyes can always see something different. That is something that's kind of a blessing there for you, really. You're kind of lucky. Dustin, then you look like you want to go to the pro ranks, by getting yourself ready for them with striking, which I tell you what will pay off dividends. Starting now, but starting big time, focusing on it, spending a lot of time because all the fights start on your feet. So you want to grapple, you got to get past those fists. So man, you're going the right way. Is what I like to say, mate. You're going the right way about this. Dustin, like I said, you're fighting on the Shamrock FC card coming up against Frank Cortez. Have you got any, let's say, social media stuff that people can jump on?
You guys can follow me on Facebook, Dustin Fischer. I'm on Instagram. You guys can follow me on there. I post a lot of videos, and I'm just some quotes and pictures of the gym and my training partners and just stuff like that. They can see, people see that I'm in there working hard. We have a great team here, like I've been saying. It's not just me. Obviously, I'm the one fighting, but 100% whether I lose goes to my team and coaches because they're the ones that got me this far, and just great things to say about them. And I put that all over Facebook too.
Hey, look, your teammates, they like you say, and your coaches, they help you get to where you're going. They help. I mean, you step in that cage. It's all about. It is teamwork. It's an individual thing you do in the cage, but it is teamwork. Teamwork's a huge part of it, man. You're right. Have you got any sponsors, Dustin, helping you out at all?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last part? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Have you got any sponsors helping you out?
Yeah, my main sponsor is Fastlane and Lane's Car Products. That's actually my company that I work for, and I can't thank my boss, Lane Pietro, enough for allowing me to leave early to come to training. Great coach. He's been a great boss, and he's been a really good role model for me. And he supports me, all the way. And I can't thank him enough for him to train, and just anything I need to do to get better, he'll allow me to do it.
Yeah, I needed a boss like that.
Yeah, I am grateful. He's one of very few that I'm sure most people can say, their boss allows them to go do what they want to do. But another one too, is my cousin Cole. My family's been through an awful lot this year and a half too, with some deaths in our family, and I'm going to be sponsoring them that night too. So I want to give a shout out to them. Just tell them I love them. My fiance, she's put up with me since I started this. And as much as she wants me to quit, she wants me to keep going and do what I want to do. And really grateful for everybody just in my life, sponsors, work, family, friends. Just thank everybody.
No, totally. You got a good circle of people around you, Dustin. You know, and I tell you, it looks like it can project you. These people around you can help project you up to a very big 2016. So, Dustin, look, we never say good luck because it's not about luck. Not at all. There's no such thing as luck. It's all about how hard you've been grafting down, man. So have a great fight, have a great weekend, enjoy the whole thing, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'm just going to go out there and have fun. I'm looking forward to a great fight, you know. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just going to go out there and just do everything I've been working on, and I'm going to have a great night.
Great stuff, Dustin. Right, thank you very much for joining us. And like I say, mate, have a wonderful time at Shamrock FC. I have Eric Crittenden's opponent, Julius. You're making your pro debut as well, taking on Eric. What made you take that step up to the pro ranks? What made that decision? How did that decision come about?
I'm really not sure. I think fighting itself was a weird choice to take. I remember my first fights, like, oh my god, like, this is gonna be hard. Like, my first fight, this is crazy. And I feel like after 1 year, I thought, okay, might as well just become a pro and get that to the next step. I'm not really sure how it came up, but I just thought it was the right time. I spoke to coaches; they thought it was the right time, and I just thought, why not? Like, I feel I have something to prove to myself. Not really anyone else, but I feel I have something to prove to myself by climbing these steps, and I really thought that's why I turned pro and just going to bigger leagues.
Well, the beautiful thing about the amateur ranks is that you can really, you know, go in there, like you said, you were like, holy shit, what am I doing, basically, when you're in the cage, the first time you went out there. You kind of get that initial shock factor out the way. If you didn't have the amateur experience and went, I'm just going to go straight into the pro ranks, and that first fight, you have that experience, that fear, that it could really have affected you psychologically, career-wise. So with the amateur ranks, you got to do a load of mistakes, which is fine. That's the idea. You can make a load of mistakes, learn from them, develop yourself, sharpen your skill set off a bit more before you hit the pro ranks. So, you know, it is a good thing hitting the amateur ranks as well.
Yeah, and doing the amateur ranks, like, it's definitely like, you go in, like, they say, like, oh, once you go pro, your amateur record does not matter, so stay amateur as long as you can. And I do agree with that, but I don't take it as much as, business or getting a perfect record. I think I'm taking all this more as just a life experience. A lot of people say, oh, don't go pro yet. Some people say, stay amateur longer. And I agree with that. I just thought it's a life experience, and I might as well just try it out and have something to tell my grandchildren.
Well, do you know what? That's what I kind of did, Julius. I did the amateur stuff, and then I went straight for the pro stuff. And people said, "Oh, why don't you do some more amateur stuff?" And I was kind of like, "But I really want to do the pro ranks. I want to go in, and I want to stand there and do it." You know, and that is the kind of that's part of it. And secondly, sometimes you just feel like you're ready for that step up. Now, your opponent Eric, he's got some good experience within the pro ranks. So, how are you going to prepare yourself for this? Because Eric's obviously, you know, got the kind of fluidity competing in the pro ranks. How are you preparing yourself for this?
How I prepare myself for it. I saw some videos, and like always when I always think too much. It's like, oh, pros, oh my God, like, I'm not capable of doing this. Oh, he's a pro and has so many more fights. He has more pro fights than I amateur. Oh my God, like, this is, I don't know if I can do this, but I've been competing for a while, and like, I know what I'm capable of, and I saw the footage. I've trained with many other pro fighters, and I know I can handle it. And like, when I saw the footage, it's like, okay, I saw his ground game, I saw his striking, and I really think it's a good fight for pro debut. And it doesn't, the numbers of him having so many fights does not really matter, because I feel the number of the fights does not reflect how he really is. But at the same time, I still don't look past. I still take him as a serious opponent. Every fight is serious, and it's a fight. Anything can happen. You could get seriously hurt or worse. So I'm definitely taking it seriously. But I do think it's gonna be my night.
Well, the thing is, like you say, that you were right there. Even if he has got more, obviously done more fights, I had it. Julius, I can relate to it in that sense. With my pro debut, my guy had, I think he had 6 bouts under his belt, so pro fights. So, it's not the same as Aaron, but at the same time, he had a lot more. And in my head, I was kind of thinking, he's got more than me, but on the night, I'll be fine. And that's the thing, and I was, I went in there and pretty much dominated him. But it's one of them ones where when you go into it, as long as you've got the right mindset and that winning mentality, that plays a huge factor. People don't talk about it enough. We certainly do on here, because we've had a sports mind coaching, and the psychological side of things. That confidence, that determination, that belief it's a huge weapon to have in your training camp and on the night. Do you?
It does not really matter, like. Yeah, because I think, like, we all human. It's like, some person could have 100 fights, but what if that person simply went into fighting without trying hard and working hard and really having that mentality, and someone who just hasn't fought at all comes in with a super strong mentality and attitude? Of course, that person is going to get advantage over someone who has more fights, but does not have the will.
Now, I don't know what the rule sets are in the States, because obviously I'm in the UK, but were your amateur fights 3x3, as in 3 minutes, 3 rounds?
Well, can you repeat that again?
Were your the amateur fights, are they 3 minutes by 3 rounds?
Yes.
Right,
yes.
That's the same as the UK. So I suppose then your training is just, one key bit would be just conditioning yourself for those. It's only 6 more minutes, but it's a lot of time, 6 minutes when you're competing. Have you already previously been training 5-minute rounds? How have you found that difference? Because there is quite a lot more of your body you're putting out there to keep that pace up. For example, if you have a high output, keep it up for 15 minutes is quite a tough one.
Yeah, 15 minutes is a lot, especially depending how hard you push. I think when you have 3-minute rounds, yes, guys go much harder because it's not so much more time. 5-minute rounds, like, person automatically thinks, okay, it's 5-minute rounds, I'm going to pace myself a little more, until you get that experience and you feel more comfortable there, and then you just go just as hard as you go for 3 minutes. Like, for the first time, I always train for 3-minute rounds, but then I'm like, wait a minute, why am I training 3-minute rounds? This is stupid. Like, why should I not strive for more? So right away I started increasing my time and everything, and for a while I've been just doing 5 minutes, and I really think, like, why should I train for 3 minutes? Like, you should be training for more and more and more, and that's gonna show into the fight why you have to train exactly for what it's out there. You gotta train for what's more than just out there.
Yeah, having that conditioning, it makes a huge difference, because again, it'll boost your confidence. You go in there, you'll know you have enough in your tank. You know you can come to the 3rd round if it went that far. You know you can keep pushing that pace that you did in the first.
Yeah, felt that's what was in, for me in wrestling in college, I was one of the lighter weight. I mean, I was a heavyweight, but I wasn't the biggest heavyweight, but I was definitely most conditioned. It didn't matter win or lose. I always like kept going, and I feel that was what got a lot of victories. That's what made all the awesome battles, and it kind of transitioned towards MMA, boxing, and just fighting in general. That keep going, the hard work in the room, and just always moving and pressuring. And I feel that's going to be a factor.
It is. It's going to be huge, man. It's going to be a huge factor, especially I feel Eric might feel like, because he has that confidence with the experience over yourself, he might feel like he'll be able to bully you around and with his, use experience, as long as you can keep the pressure yourself on him and, put him on his back foot and really kind of mess with his potential game plan. I tell you what, it will play very well. It'll play well for you, mate. It will play out very well.
Yeah, I saw his videos. He always looks very calm, very relaxed. So then I was thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to push him. He's going to look relaxed. Now I'm going to get discouraged. Okay, don't get discouraged because eventually he's going to catch up. But he does look confident. He does have that experience of being in the ring and just pacing yourself, remaining calm, which is also like very, very important.
That's the thing.
That's going to be another big experience for me fighting him.
A lot of guys have good poker faces, That's one big thing, You've got to, you can't just stand there with your face wide open, your jaw wide open, going, "Oh shit!" You've got to, you got to hide, any emotion. The fact that something might have hurt, something, you're getting discouraged, you're getting annoyed, you're getting frustrated, anything like that. You've got to be able to just keep the same face the whole way through. It really plays a psychological battle game then with the opponent, because they might, like you say, you might think that it's not working, and he's just calm as anything, but inside he might just be going absolutely bonkers. You just don't know. It's a huge fact. It's a huge balance as well. And do you know what?
Yeah, in wrestling, I always thought, okay, I feel like crap right now. I know my conditioning is good. I feel like crap. He must feel way worse.
Yeah.
And that's why I knew. I was like, all right, I feel real bad. If I push a little more, then he's going to feel a little worse. So that's, I feel like, will always help me in wrestling, just thinking that.
Hey, man, keep that with you for this fight.
Experience.
Keep it with you for this fight against Eric, dude. It can help. It can help big time. Before we let you shoot off, man, can you give a shout out to any social media stuff that you have, so people can jump on, join you on your pro debut, and obviously this next year, 2016, could be huge for you, man.
Yeah, I really hope 2016 is going to be big. There's a lot of hype going on about me. Trying not to think about it. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just trying to work hard, and like all this hype, I don't want it to get into my head, because a lot of people does get in the head. So I'm just trying to do the work. And yeah, shout outs. Get me on Facebook. I'll accept you. Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Julius Anglickas. Same thing on Twitter, Julius Anglickas. I just got Twitter recently. Still gotta learn how to use it. Not too long. I'm like, all right, what is this thing? And Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It doesn't change. Just Julius Anglickas. I'm gonna get a fire page soon on Facebook too. So follow me on that. I don't have it yet, but will soon. So
there you go.
And, you guys watch me on January 30th. You work for Shamrock FC.
Jump on, give them a follow, ladies and gentlemen. What about any sponsors there helping you out?
Right now, I've been going to Sub-Zero Chiropractor. You go in this chamber, and it's like minus 200, and they just like freeze your body for like 3 minutes, give you a shot.
Oh, the cryotherapy, yeah.
Yes. I went there today. It's in Chesterfield. So definitely go there, check it out. They helped me a lot. I went there today. I feel much better. And I still need to pick up some more sponsors. If shout out to my team. Everybody's been helping me out big time and to get ready.
Yeah, who is your team? Who's your coaches and friends and that? Then give them a shout out.
My head coach, Mike Rogers, Quinn O'Brien is like one of my main sparring partners. He fought for Glory. He's a really, really good kickboxer. Oh my God, he dropped me with the big knee 2 weeks ago. Oh goodness. Yeah, he landed one. I just dropped. He's like, "You alright? Was that ribs or stomach?" I was like, "Stomach." Okay, good. So yeah, he helps me a lot. And Zach Freeman's been helping me a lot. Just everybody around my family's been supportive. Everybody's been supportive, and it's gonna be great. And hopefully, I can sure got a flag for this fight. I'm gonna try to represent Lithuania eventually. Maybe for next fight, maybe get some flags or something and walk out with it. I don't know why I didn't do it this time, but hopefully, I'll get some followers back from Lithuania. And, just get a little bigger following group right there.
I was going to say, just each fight comes along, just grow a little bit more. That's all you need to do, man. Look, Julius, have a great fight. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. You know, you and Eric put on a great show for the fans that are watching at the event and also who watch it live, because you can get it live, ladies and gentlemen. You can stream the Shamrock FC fights. If you go on the website, the links are there. Julius, thanks very much for giving me some of your time, coming on and speak with us. And like I said, mate, just enjoy yourself at the weekend.
Thank you so much.
Yohance, you're taking on Malcolm Smith at Shamrock FC. You're a bit busy. You're pushing yourself, getting yourself ready for this fight. 2016 starting. Now, looking at the pair of you, what I see, the two of you, it's just a little bit of consistency and getting those little win streaks going. What's your what are you doing yourself to get this to get a bit of consistency going? You know, what are you have you focused on little areas that you particularly need to work on?
Basically, my inconsistency had to do with it was all about me not I would say I wasn't all the way complete, put it that way. I had holes in my game, which was my mind when I went into fights. But now I don't go and think about anything. I just go in there and fight.
Now that you mention that, we've had people on before. We've actually had a sports mind consultant, sports strengthening coach, mind strengthening coach, but on before to talk about that. You know, it's we here on the podcast, we believe it's a huge part of the game. It's a huge aspect of the game that.
Oh yeah.
It's. I would say I wouldn't say it's overlooked. I don't think it's really acknowledged enough on the mainstream of things in MMA. People don't really acknowledge how important the psychological factor is. Whether it could be simple as just something small, but it manifests into something big. You know, it's crazy, man. It really is.
Hell yeah. But shit, man, like I said, I've always had the physical gifts, the technique and everything. I mean, but if your mind ain't right, your athletic ability means nothing.
You're dead on.
I'm a big believer of that. I'm a big believer of that because I learned it my lesson. I learned myself.
Well, let's look at Donald Cerrone. You know, he finally gets another chance, another stab, and he always seems to fall short at that very last hurdle. It's like he can't accept winning almost, like that success. He likes to fight, but when it comes to that seriousness of the belt, he somehow seems to just teeter away. You know, and it's clearly there. You can see there's a mental block in the game, and it's the same for Jake Ellenberger. You know, Jake Ellenberger, he used to have up and down runs.
Yeah, for a title. I agree. You got very valid points. Everyone's mind's different, you know. And like you said, people underestimate this part of fighting, the mental part, which, my gosh, man, if you just list of fighters, man, that just had it all, you know, just couldn't put it there together at that time, you know. And yeah, I've been doing Tai Chi so for the last year, and that's helped me out tremendously.
Well, it's good that you found something to just kind of balance everything out upstairs, you know, to help kind of calm that which is, I call it a storm. Your mind is a storm at times, especially when it comes to a fight.
Hell yeah, it is.
There's so much going on.
The hell out of you.
Yeah, it is. It really does. Hey, look, I've had it. I went into fights and I've got 101 things going on in my mind, and at the same time, I stand there and I go, I should really think about what I'm about to do right now, rather than think about everything else.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Because I've got a guy across the cage from me, that wants to punch me in the face. It's a big problem. But that's the thing. You've won fights.
If you don't think that.
Yeah. You've won fights.
If you don't believe that way, then you're not alive, man.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that one. Like, you've won fights in the past. It shows that you can win them. You know, it shows that you know what you're doing, man. That's the problem with this. You can definitely see that there is something small. With obviously that aspect, do you feel like an air of confidence now? A bit more confidence in yourself? Do you feel I'd say relaxed? Do you feel almost like a little bit more relaxed in yourself?
Yeah, I feel more relaxed, and I trust myself, and I trust my training. I didn't have a lot of faith and trust in a lot of my coaches, in the past. And I think a lot of that was, bothered me. But as a fighter, you sit there and you put up that block anyways. You know that you're invincible. Yeah. And actually, as a fighter, we're really way more vulnerable than a lot of people think.
I agree.
And that's another thing I've come to embrace.
Yeah, because we are all just human, skin and bones at the end of the day. There's nothing. We're not superhuman beings. We are just people. And with the coaching aspect, that is a huge part of it as well. I had a coach he was not the qualified coach that is required for someone to be successful at the sport. And the problem was, I had to. He was all I could have. He was all I had access to.
Yeah.
So, the limitations were there in place, so there was nothing I could have done about it, even though... So that's a mental battle. It's in your mind, just sitting there going, I've not got the right coaching, but I have to, what else can I do? And it's a huge factor, man.
Yeah, like I said, man, like and that was always been my biggest downfall. I'd go into fights, well trained, well everything, and I'd overthink things. Man, well, what if I do this, and what if that? You can't really control what happens, and I learned that too. I can't really control what happens, because it's spontaneous. I can think I know what my opponent's going to do, but he might not want to do that. So I mean, it's always a forever changing roller coaster.
Yeah, definitely it is. So Malcolm that you're facing off against, for this fight coming up then, have you been focusing on yourself rather than trying to focus on anything about your opponent?
Well, my opponent has changed.
Oh dear.
So I mean, it's all the same to me. I'm just happy that someone stepped in and took his place, because I mean, truthfully, right now, I mean, I'm like right at the end of my career, man, and it's like I don't even know why I'm retiring, because I feel like I'm the best I'll ever be right now.
Well,
it's because of my head. I've learned to control myself.
Look, the thing is are you looking to retire this year? What's the scenario with that?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna retire this year, man. Just and the way like that way I feel now. It's not even about the fight, because I mean I could fight every 2 weeks if I could, you know, and let that be my training, but I can't do that, you know. So I got to put in a 2.5, 3 months of training, and that's just hard after 10 years, you know. I've been fighting for 10 years, and it's like a little hard on my body now.
So are you looking to then kind of go out with a couple of wins? Is that what the goal is for this year?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's how I'm gonna go out is on wins.
And do you have?
I've learned not to beat myself, so that's how I always feel I lost my fights with. I didn't lose. I beat myself. So and I've learned not to beat myself. I've learned that the only person that can really beat me in there is really me. So I'm good, man. I'm good. I am in a great place.
And do you have roughly an idea of how many fights you like to have then? Is it like just 2 or 3 more? Have you got an idea in your head, or are you just going to see how it feels this year?
As many as my body lets me. Yeah. Because you know as well as I do. I mean, I could say I want to fight next week, but, next month. But I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. I don't know, even if I win and have a 3-minute fight, I'm going to come out of there, with some kind of bumps and bruises. So,
yeah, you can get.
It's kind of hard.
You can get a little silly thing like a cut over your eye, little daft things like that. Just hold stuff up.
Yeah. Well, again with me, it's like I don't train like I used to either, so I don't put my body through much damage. I just I think I'm doing the Conor McGregor training, kind of keep it to myself and maybe train with a few people every once in a while, but just making sure that my body is good and strong enough and healthy when I get in the ring.
Hey, it's the right thing to do. Update the software, don't break the hardware. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's the right thing. It's the way everyone should be training. It's not about the old school days with Lions Den, with Shamrock's old Lions Den, where they would just literally knock each other out in training, then go and fight. It's a progressive learning curve.
Yeah, definitely is. It's definitely a learning curve for me, because when I started out, it was with Berger and Berger at Spinney's, and I was with Pat Vincent and Dustin Severs and Eric Irvin, and they beat the crap out of it because they go 100%, and I was just like a little old rookie at that time, and they just beat the crap out of me, man. And, and I didn't like that, either. But again, that's probably made me, the fighter who I am now again too, though.
Hey, look, it's things like that. You got to just take them on and learn. You know what? It toughens you up, man. It you stuck around. That was the thing. It definitely crafted you to who you are now. And look, you're looking to go out with a big bang in 2016. You got this first fight with Shamrock. I hope you have a great year. I hope this year finishes how you'd like it to. Before you go, though, but have you got any kind of any social media stuff that people can jump on and kind of give you a bit of backing before your last bout, let's say?
Yeah, you can hit me up on Facebook and my Instagram at God/of/war, and come see me on the 30th at the Lumiere. Put it down on this main event card, do my thing.
And you can go onto the Shamrock FC card if you can't make it to the event and watch it live. The links to the streaming are all on there, so you can always jump onto that. And what about sponsors? You got any people backing you up, helping you out?
My brother and a couple of friends, gyms, flip mode technique, and barber shop, but just a few of them, not too many.
It's good. It's good. You got people helping you out. And finally, do you want to give a shout out to any your training partners, coaches, people like that have helped you out?
Yeah, man. Like definitely, like I want Steve Berger, of course. Mark Botendry, Nick Zona. Man, the list can go on, with Chris Heatherly, he helped me out. Montel Prater, he's helping me out a lot for this fight. So, man, people who were there all along,
Hey, that's
Vinny,
good.
Vinny was there when I started, Tony Biondo, So,
Hey.
yeah.
Hey man, it sounds like you've got a lot of people around you. Look, and I'm sure this is going to be a great weekend coming up on the 30th. I'm sure it's going to be a great event. And look, have a great time, man. Enjoy yourself.
All right, man. Thanks, and everyone tune out to January 30th at Lumiere. It's going down, main event. Yohance Flager, God of War, baby.
You better do, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much for joining us, man.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Dustin, Julius, and Yohance. Sorry, go follow them, join them on social media, and also tune into the Shamrock FC card that's coming up on the 30th. Like I said before during those interviews, go on the Shamrock FC website page. There's links there. Jesse's making a really, really big effort to push the brand, and not only that, he's trying to make it as accessible as possible to people all around the world. So I do suggest you jump on there. Moving on, like I said, to the Bellator 148 card this week. I just want to touch on a couple of matchups. They're starting to make an effort with the women's division, the 125 division. They've got the flyweight division. They've got a couple of girls fighting on there. You got McFarlane against Taggett. Or was it Tackett? Tackett. I pronounce it like that, possibly. Sorry about the pronunciation here. They're making a bit of an effort with the women's division, Bellator. Scott Cook is... he was the linchpin in women's MMA on the mainstream with Strikeforce, and he's really starting to bring that back again now. He's starting to, get the girls in, get them on the cards, and starting to slowly build up the rosters. It's going to take time. He's got to go out there, find the talent, because Invicta's got a lot of them, UFC's got a lot. It's going to take time, okay? So it's good to see that he's doing it, you see. A couple of good fights worth looking out for. You've got Patrice Ferreira against Ryan Couture, a hell of a matchup with these guys. The reason why I feel this matchup will be an interesting bout for, especially in the 155 division for Bellator, because Ryan Couture's been on a 4-fight win streak since his UFC release. Ryan Couture's starting to just chain things together, but the thing is, he's coming up against a guy who's got a lot of experience. Got a guy in Ferreira who's got a win against a very established opponent in Sad Awad, okay? He's got this ability to nullify fighters. He's got the skill set. He's one of those guys, I think, if Ryan Couture gets past him, that will help project Ryan Couture on the Bellator scene to a potential title shot picture. It helped get his name in there a lot more. So that's a fight worth looking out for. In the 170 division, though, this is the because originally you did have Josh Koscheck who was meant to fight on this card, okay? So he got injured, a lot of stuff happened, they had to reshuffle the card anyway. They have the rematch with Chris Honeysett and Paul Bradley. And when I say rematch, it was stopped last time because of a clash of heads. It was accidental, blah, blah, or maybe on purpose. It just happens in the fight game. So they're going up against each other again. Honeysett, he's a prospect to watch out for. Chris Honeysett is a guy... Honeycutt is a guy you want to keep an eye out for. He's 6-0. He is a really good finisher. He's worth keeping an eye on. Paul Bradley is a hell of a test for him. I think if Honeycutt can get past Paul Bradley, you'll really start to see Chris Honeycutt project into the big mainstream on the kind of welterweight scene in the world, really. I think what you'll also notice is you might see him and Michael Page against each other. That's a hell of a matchup that they might do in the future, but I don't know yet. And the main event, you've got Paul Daley from the UK, who's on a 4-fight win streak. Killing it. He's just an absolute savage, as we all know. Against Andy Uhrich, who's on a 3-fight win streak, okay? Andy, he joined us previously on the podcast when he took a fight on short notice against Bobby Cooper, and he stepped in and won on short notice. So I contacted Andy, had a chat with him about this fight, because it's a huge opportunity for him to main event a Bellator card. And also, you know, if he can derail Paul Daley, you got to imagine that's going to send, you know, echoes, vibrations, earthquakes, typhoons, whatever you want to call it, around the world, and put Andy on the map. And I'm going to give him a great opportunity to maybe put his name in a hat for a title shot at the 170. So here is Andy for you all to listen to, folks. Andy, let's start off by saying last time we had a chinwag was you were making a short notice fight on a Titan card against Bobby Cooper. Things have not went too bad since then, really, have they?
Not really. I kind of had a bad year getting fights after that. You know, I took the fight. I had a fight in February, and then I took the Bobby Cooper fight in short notice. And I wanted to try to fight 5 times last year, and it didn't work out. I only fought twice, and had 3 fights fall through. And one fight in May, July 3rd, the guy got injured the week of the fight and pulled out. And then a fight in August, the promotion had to cancel the show due to some personal issues with the promoter. So that's how my year went after taking a short notice fight with Bobby on, you know, a bigger card like Titan on CBS Sports Network. So other than that, the year started off good, but then it ended bad. So hopefully this year starts off with a bang with me, you know, coming out and banging with Paul Daley.
Well, I was going to say, it's not a bad way to start the year, having a main event on Bellator. It's a pretty good way to get going, isn't it, mate?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I'm super stoked, super excited about it.
Now, obviously, Paul Daley is, you know, he's obviously a wrestler. He's just gonna grapple you for 3 rounds now.
Yeah.
Well, with Paul Daley, you know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with Paul Daley, and obviously, I imagine, you know, you spoke with your coaches, you went over this, and you were like, look, we've got to obviously avoid. His strongest weapon is his left hook, his left straight, even, you know, his left hand, really. His boxing is his strongest suit. You know, for me, if I was personally, you know, if I was matched up against Paul Daley, you know, my kind of instinct would want it be to grapple with him. You know, you'd want to gas those arms out, tire them out a bit more, get him up against the cage, work those underhooks, make him really just work those arms. You know, even get him, if you can get him to the ground, even better. I imagine your game plan is obviously to, you know, just keep that distance and be patient.
Yeah, man, no doubt. The game plan, you know, everybody has that kind of game plan for Paul Daley, so I know he's expecting me to come in like that. So, you know, I'm going to come in with a little bit different, kind of just adapt to his style and adapt to, you know, all the situations that can happen in the cage, because I don't want to go in there and just think, oh, I got to put him up against the cage and wear him out and do this or do that, you know, stuff that other people have done. You know, I've watched video on him and seen some kinks in his armor, and, you know, you see what he does good, see what he does bad, and, you know, you just kind of put it in your training regimen to where you got to work on your strengths and make sure that, you know, when I go in the cage, I'm going to, you know, implement my style and impose my will on him, just like he's going to try to do to me. So that's the badass thing about the fight game. You know, anything can happen, and, you know, I can come out there and knock him out with a left hook, just like he could come out and knock me out with a left hook.
Yeah.
I don't think he can come out and take me down and just out grapple or out wrestle me. So, you know, I feel like I've got the edge on, you know, the more rounded, and, you know, the more I'm more well rounded in all aspects. You know, he's really, really good at striking, but he's got a lot of kinks in his wrestling and his grappling and stuff like that. So, like I said, he's got really good hips off the cage and takedown defense, but, you know, once you get him on his back, his hips kind of go away from him, and he kind of looks like a fish out of water.
Yeah, that's us British people for you, where our wrestling is crap. That's the best way to put it. You know, well, you look at the best example would be Michael Bisping. He's been in the UFC for a long time, and it took him a long while to get his wrestling defense up to a good standard. And even then, when he gets to guys, when he fought like Tim Kennedy and stuff, it just, you know, it showed that his grappling was never going to be of a high enough level. You know, that is our fundamental flaw in the grassroots area in the UK, where we don't have like your NCAA's, level of kind of competition at high school. There's a couple of clubs around, but it's not like a sport in America in high school. It's a sport for us. It's seasonal.
Yeah.
So we've got well, you call it soccer, rugby, track and field, and this stupid thing called cricket, which is absolute shite. But they have that's kind of like the kind of main ones here. So we're seriously lacking straight away then in that competitiveness with that wrestling, and it is a huge factor in the game of MMA.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm from the state of Nebraska, and that's all it is in Nebraska is wrestling and football. And I grew up doing it, and I wasn't real big in it. I didn't really like it, but it's a thing that you got to do, and especially in MMA, a wrestling background is very key to getting far and being successful.
It is, and especially I've noticed with certain wrestlers when they start to really apply themselves in the striking game, they have already got a lot of power already because of that wrestling background. Those fundamentals you learn from the wrestling with that foot, that explosive power when you're coming forward, it generates power in your fists without even putting too much effort in. It's already there.
Yeah, especially with the small gloves too. You get touched with those and has a little bit of power behind it, it's going to drop you for sure. Then you just get put on the ground, and that's where the wrestler wants to be. I always think about Hendricks. When he John Fitch or Campman, and he just that kind of explosive, that dipping down and coming up, and he just flatlined people, and you went, yep, that's pretty much if he wanted to go for a takedown, he would have had that projection to do it. And it's the same with when you apply it to your striking. So obviously when the match when you match up we get a match up with Paul Daley. Your training camp, I imagine, have you brought boxers in specifically then, just to kind of get used to that kind of output that boxers can do and that kind of striking, or is that something you've been working on? I mean, I've got, there's a lot of different types of fighters and training partners that I have at my gym here in Memphis, at Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, and it's just, you just got to bring the aspect of what Paul Daley does and kind of just put it into your training camp. I've got a lot of guys that I've trained with that are good strikers and heavy hitters and good wrestlers and all that. So, I feel like I would rather fight a really good striker than a really good wrestler. I fought Nate Coy, and he's a damn good wrestler. And I mean that grinding of a fight when you have a wrestler on top of you and you can't move or anything like that, man. That's a grind fight, and it sucks, man. And if you're on the other end of that, it's definitely a lot better. So that's where I'm looking at.
Well, being on top is a lot better than being on the bottom, unless you're Damian Maia, and he probably doesn't care where he is.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Unless he's getting beat up.
yeah, he just get on you anyway. He'll get on top of it, just doing some absolutely amazing transition. He's beautiful to watch. Anytime he fights, I just wish the fights when he has an MMA bout, I just wish he'd start on the ground straight away. I don't want to see him strike. I just want to see him on the ground. I just want to see him get on the ground. We'll start on half guard. Let's go. We'll see what happens there. He's awesome.
His stand-up game isn't near his grappling game. So that's the thing. Every fight starts on the feet. So if you're a grappler, you got to figure out how to get it clinched and get it to the ground.
That's the thing. Yeah, with Paul Daley, it's if you want to get him down, you've got to think, right, I've got to get through his combinations. He's going to have counters ready to possibly stop a takedown. So it is something you've got to think about. You've got to set it all up properly. You've got to disguise it. You've got to mask it. It is an art form in itself. Nowadays it seems, I think takedowns, they have taken on a different, they've evolved differently in MMA where, back, let's say 5-8 years ago maybe, guys would be able to shoot in for the takedown pretty openly, and generally they probably get it. But nowadays it's very much a game of setting up with the strikes. You've got to throw a certain combinations to get your opponents so bewildered by the strike and they can't see the takedown coming.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a lot of timing and angles and different things now. Everybody's evolving so much, and there's so many everybody's training everything. You don't got guys that are just training karate or striking or Muay Thai anymore. Everybody's, if you're wanting to be a good mixed martial artist and you want to, make some money and make some noise in the game, you gotta go do your jiu-jitsu, you gotta do your wrestling, your strength conditioning. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects, and you have to drill it all every day.
Yeah, you do, mate. It's beautiful the way the sport has to evolve all the time, because it just keeps people on their toes if they want to be pushing themselves in the game. And the matchup you've got against Paul Daley, I suppose it's nice working with Scott Coker again, is it?
Oh yeah, man! I fought for Strikeforce back in Nashville, Tennessee, when Dan Henderson and King Mo and all those guys fought on the card, and Scott Coker was running Strikeforce, and I worked with Bellator, when Rebney was there, and did the Fight Master and everything like that. And I feel like Scott Coker knows what he's doing and knows where he wanted to take Bellator, and working well, with Spike TV and everything like that to get it to where it's at right now. They're competing with the UFC, but they're also, they might not be as big as UFC mainstream wise, but they're doing different aspects and bringing in different alternatives. They're letting the guys bring out their personalities and kind of bringing back that Pride era into Bellator, and that's what a lot of the hardcore fans like to see, is the fighters' personalities and the big screens and the awesome walkouts and all that stuff. You got to make the show entertainment with, not just an entertaining fight, but you also have to make it entertaining with the personalities and all the showmanship and all the show entertainment of the promotion. So I like where they're going with it.
Yeah, it's nice to see that he's obviously taken all the bits from Strikeforce that he felt worked, the things that he felt clicked right, and he's taken them all on, and he's just implementing them slowly into Bellator. Because Strikeforce was a huge success. It was a fantastic promotion. It was great, and it would be daft of him to not take bits from there and implement them into Bellator. The next thing I would like to see is possibly like a rebranding of Bellator. I'd like to see Scott Coker do next. It's not that I think there's anything wrong with it. I just think it'd be nice if he maybe did a rebranding so it's his own thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying for sure. And like you said, that how successful Strikeforce was. Look at all the champions in UFC. You got Luke Rockhold and Robbie Lawler, and a lot of the guys that are champs in UFC were champs in Strikeforce. And Dana White said that no Strikeforce guys would ever come over to UFC and dominate like they are. And well, we're seeing it happen.
Yeah, Daniel Cormier as well.
Yeah, there you go. There's another one.
Verdum. He got dropped by the UFC.
Yeah,
went to Strikeforce.
Yeah. I mean, heavyweight champ. And he's one of your top pound-for-pound fighters in the world now. And reigns supreme.
It's insane. It's crazy. The matchup against your match with Paul Daley. If you think about it, if you go in there and let's say you put on a finish, whether you stop him with strikes or you stop him on the ground with a submission or even on the feet with a submission, it could potentially put you in line for talks of being a contender for the welterweight title, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, everybody's saying that, just because of the name of, Paul Daley and his experience and what they're trying to build him up and getting his rematch with Koscheck and everything like that. I'm looking at fighting Daley and going out there and win or lose, I'm going to put on a show and, get invited back, create some more fans. And, if I win, if Bellator wants to put me in a title shot mix, then put me in the title shot mix. If they want to match me up with Koscheck, match me up with Koscheck. I'm just going to move on to the next step of the ladder. Like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years. Any opportunity I get, I'm going to knock on the door, open it up, and kick ass.
Well, I don't think it's because of Paul Daley's name. Paul Daley's talked about, wanting to fight for the title, and he's been racking up the wins, so I already see him as a perennial contender anyway. So, I think if you do get I think if it goes to a decision, you can still put yourself as a challenger. I think if you finish the fight, it puts more of a stamp. It puts more of a wave. It throws a wave through the welterweight division, saying, I'm here. I'm not here to fuck around, and I'm here to cause damage. I'm here to cause problems, and I think that's probably what that projects fighters up the ladder, so to speak, a bit quicker when you put the finishers on. It's the same with every promotion, I believe, anyway.
Yeah, you're right, and that's what anybody's going to go out to do. And if the opportunity arises, I'm going to be there to kick it open and kick ass, take names.
That's what it's all about, man, isn't it? And exactly, and Bellator are starting to slowly bring in, like Scott Coker, let's say. I won't say Bellator, sorry. I'll say Scott Coker. He's slowly, when he first took over, he did a load of cuts, and he's starting to slowly bring in names and faces. And like you say, he's starting to want to build their personalities, and it's just a progression. It's a slow progression, and he's doing the right speed. He's not rushing it too quickly. And I tell you what, he's giving guys a chance to get in there and have a stab and make a name for themselves. And hey, man, you've got a great chance to do that against Paul Daley.
Yeah, no doubt. That's what I'm trying to take this opportunity to the next level. Not a lot of people know who I am. A lot of people know who Daley is. I'm not really a household name. A lot of people, read on forums and stuff saying, it's a cupcake matchup. Why don't they just match Daley and Koscheck up? Why are they, matching them up on the same card but not fighting each other and all this and that? But coming from me, there's guys out there just like me. I'm very, I'm very confident. I'm very well rounded. I feel like I'm a good fighter. I feel like I'm supposed to be on this level and on this stage, but I haven't been given this opportunity, and now been given this opportunity, and I'm gonna make the best of it. And go out there and get a big finish. Then everybody's gonna know who I am. I'll be a household name, and then I'll be right there in the mix of Bellator and try to go for that gold and bring it home, bring it back to Memphis.
Yeah, that is the thing about that. Like you say, it's people. You will statistically be seen as an underdog, but the thing is, people who don't follow MMA enough outside of, let's say, even forget Bellator, people don't follow MMA outside of UFC. They won't really know MMA names too much. Obviously, I came across you, like I said before, from the Titan card and stuff like that, and it's one of them ones where, like you say, you've fought before in the big bright lights. You've been there before. It's not like this is a new thing for you fighting on the big stage. It's obviously a nice opportunity that you've got. That's the difference. The only difference is the win gives a lot more opportunities possibly than any other win has done before.
Yeah, and that's due to the opponent.
Yeah.
Paul Daley's a good opponent, and he's a great name, and I take him out. Yeah, it's just gonna blow me up, and instead of taking the next step on the ladder, which I'm always just gonna go one step at a time. But like you said, I beat Daley. It's just gonna move me up multiple steps on that ladder, and bring my name out there to where people will know who I am. Finally, I've been doing it a long time. I've been doing this almost 10 years now.
Look, I can definitely see fireworks going off. Look, for people who's got a UFC Fight Pass, and I think you might be able to find your fight with Bobby Cooper on there via Titan FC, because I think the history's on there anyway, so you might be able to find that. I'm not sure if that was pre-UFC Fight Pass deal, so I'm not sure if it's on there yet. But there are other fights on.
It was before the Fight Pass.
Yeah, it might not be on there yet. But I tell you what, you can do. You can probably go on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, and look at some of Andy's previous bouts, because YouTube is great for putting on fights that shouldn't be on there. Great stuff. People put them on there when they're probably breaking copyright rules, but I love that they do that. So it means I get to watch more fighting. So yeah, you can probably check out Andy's fights before he fights Paul Daley to get an idea of what's going to be going down there, so you get an idea of what you're watching. And also, if you're like a little geek like me, it's good. It's a good little thing to do. Look, before you do shoot off, my friend, how about you give ladies and gentlemen at home your social network and stuff so they can start to follow you now, man?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Stunner Uhrich, and then follow me on Instagram at Stunner MMA.
There you go, ladies and
then
gentlemen.
I'm also on Facebook too. Andy Stunner Uhrich on Facebook.
Jump on, give him a follow, give him a bit of backing, give it going in. And watch his progression in the Bellator rankings, let's say, for a stab at that lovely shiny belt that they've got on offer. And Andy, what about any sponsors here at the moment backing you up?
Yeah, man, I got a good sponsor at Vaporfly, Hayabusa, Fightwear. I want to say thanks for, supporting me throughout this fight camp for that, giving me good gear, and Vaporfly keeping stuff keeping the support going. Ramsey Shadows Tattoos here in Memphis. I just got a new leg tattoo from them here 3 weeks ago, and I'll be getting it finished after this fight. So shout out to them. They're probably the best tattoo artists, definitely that I've ever been around or ever seen. They got some awesome work out there. My wife Jessica, she's my nutritionist. She keeps me fed and keeps me going strong. All my training partners at Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, all the guys that are coming out this weekend fighting at World Series of Fighting here in Memphis. I got a crew of guys fighting. Teddy Holder, one of my main training partner, he's fighting in the main event. Joe Pass, he's one of my best friends. He's been through a lot with me through my whole career. He's always in my corner. He's always out flying out with me. Anywhere I go, he's right there, taking care of what needs to be taken care of while I'm trying to get my weight down and get my mind ready for the fight.
I remember you said.
Everybody just.
Sorry, go on, Andy. Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt there. I was going to say, I remember you mentioning about your wife cooking your meals last time we were speaking. It seems that she's keeping you in check still.
Yeah, and she's getting better and better. She learns. She didn't go to school for nutrition or anything like that. She's actually she does cancer and epidemiology research at St. Jude Research Hospital here in Memphis. But she learns all the time. She's always reading and knows what I need to eat, and what I don't need to eat. Because a lot of people don't understand the way fighters and athletes need to eat. You got to eat to perform. I got to have food to give me energy. And a lot of people ask what I eat and how I lose the weight so easily. And like, man, you eat all that kind of stuff and you're still losing that much weight. I said, yeah, because I got to eat to perform. I got to have the carbs and got to have all this good stuff. I can't just not give my body what it needs.
Yeah.
But she keeps it new and keeps a bunch of different stuff coming in, so nothing gets bland and nothing gets old.
Good. So that sounds awesome, man. That's great teamwork. It's beautiful to hear. It's beautiful to hear that it's still evolving, my friend. Was anyone else? Anything else you want to give a shout out to before we shoot off?
No, man. I think I've covered it all.
Okay, awesome. Look, man. Have a great weekend. There's going to be a lot of coverage on this. There's going to be a lot of people keeping eyes on it. Man, have a great weekend, dude. It's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Y'all do the same. Y'all have a good weekend and get through that storm.
Oh, we will, dude. Thanks very much, man.
All right, y'all.
Okay, that was Andy there. It was great having him on. It was just nice to catch up with him. Have a little chat, and look, huge opportunity. Tune into the Bellator card. It's happening. Get into it. Get on board with it all. And now I'm going to step into the UFC Fight Night card that's going on. Main event, I'll just quickly mention before I go to it, is the Anthony Johnson versus Ryan Bader card. Okay, that's the best way to put it. We have an interesting fight. Dustin Ortiz versus Wilson Reese. It's going to be a good fight to watch. It's going to be entertaining to watch. When you get these small dudes flying around, it's like you got these guys, anything from like 125, 155. They've got such a vast skill set, especially speed and technique. It's going to be a great fight. I think Dustin Ortiz needs to, he gets this win. It really starts to set him up again, build his way up. There's the potential. Ian McCall said we wouldn't mind beating him again. Ian McCall wouldn't so it'd be good for Ortiz to win to get that rematch with Ian McCall. Wilson Reese, he is a very tough opponent. I'm loving the idea of this matchup. But I'll tell you what, next matchup I want to talk about, possibly more than any of them. It's going to very much under the radars. Tarek Safadine against Jake Ellenberger. Hell of a matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my word. Oh, I can't even put it. Oh, it's insane. So Safadine has been out since October 2014. Now, if anyone doesn't know who this man is, he is the guy who derailed Nate Marquardt of the welterweight title back at the last ever Shamrock FC card. Strikeforce card. And Nate Marquardt destroyed Tyron Woodley, put him to sleep, and then all of a sudden, Tarek Saffiedine came on and literally, I say leg kicked, axed away at Nate Marquardt's legs and crippled him in the fight. It was an execution. It was insane. And Saffiedine's been away with, you know what? It's part of the fight game. Injuries come along. Injuries bug. Injuries niggle. Some guys come back too fast. They bring back. They make the old injury come back again. It puts them out for longer. Or what happens is they overcompensate. If they have like a shoulder injury, they'll overcompensate with the other one, and then that goes. All sorts of things happen. He's out. He's been out for a while. He's back. I'm hoping that he's been fully rehabbed. He's taken his time, got his fitness right, got himself nice and sharp, and he's taking on Jake Ellenberger, who, again, like I said to you, it's very interesting, this matchup, only because of what's happened externally in the fight game for these guys. Ellenberger's left Glendale gym, and what he's done is he's working with Scott Curzon, who is the strength and conditioning coach for Rafael dos Anjos. He is a very technical man, so I want to see how that is implemented into Ellenberger's game. I want to also see how Ellenberger's mindset is, because I always feel like he mentally keeps falling. I'd love to see if he's got a strength and conditioning coach for his mind. A lot of things have happened for him. I think for Ellenberger, he's possibly got one more. He's got one more run at this welterweight title, I think, if he's going to do it. Another fight in the card. Well, it's interesting. His third fight in the UFC, Sage Northcutt. He's stepping up into the welterweight division against Brian Barbarian. It was wasn't meant to be 170. Fighters dropped out. The UFC juggled a couple of things around, put these two together. They said, "Look, do you want to go 170, Sage?" He said, "Yes." That's basically what's happened. Okay. Now, going up a weight class means you're fighting a bigger guy. Obviously, though, for Sage, it means he's not cutting any weight. He says he sees his future at 170 as well. Of course, he's at 19. He's going to keep filling out. He's going to keep growing. He's going to fight a guy who's pretty tough. He's 1-1 in the UFC, but the thing with Brian is he's got 10 wins. 8 of them have got KO or TKOs. The guy can hit. The guy's got power. I tell you, Sage is in for a tough fight. This one could be a complete banana skin for him, and this could derail a Sage, hype train, let's say. But you know what? At 19 for Sage, it's not the end of the world. It's not a problem. I'm going to skip up to the co-main event, which is possibly a fight that I feel could have happened at any stage for the past, say, 5 or 6 years. It's a fight I can't actually... When I think about it, I'm surprised it hasn't happened. It's Josh Barnett against Ben Rothwell. These guys have been around for a long time. You've got two absolutely great warriors. And Josh Barnett, the conditioning that he came into in the Roy Nelson fight was superb. Absolutely superb. I hope to see that same Josh Barnett with that same physical attributes come into this Rothwell fight. Rothwell, he is on a 3-fight win streak. He is in absolute scary mode. He's a killer at the moment. Now, does the winner get a title shot? I don't know. But for Ben Rothwell, though, I think it puts him in a stronger position to get a title shot than it does Josh Barnett. I think maybe they're both one fight away after this to get a title shot. And, I know Ben will harp on for one. I think if Ben Rothwell wins this, I think he will be matched up with Travis Brown, and I think him and Travis Brown will get the throwdown eventually. For Barnett, I think if he gets the win, I don't know if he'll fight. I don't think he'll do Travis Brown because he's already fought before, you see. So they might match him up with someone else. They might do Miocic and Barnett, and he might stick them on the same card as Kane and Verdum. Going on to the main event, though, you've got Anthony Johnson against Ryan Bader, light heavyweight division. This is a very interesting matchup, and the reason why I say this is because you will have John Jones making his return against Daniel Cormier. So John Jones will fight off. He'll beat Daniel Cormier. He gets his belt back. I think the winner of this matchup is the next in line, okay? I know Johnson recently. I know his last fight, he beat Jimmy Manuwa, finished him, and the fight before was a loss to Daniel Cormier. But still, I still feel Anthony Johnson can do it. I think he can come back and get another title shot. Ryan Bader, 5-fight win streak. The issue you've got with Ryan Bader is, yes, he's won 5 in a row. All 5, though, are decisions. He's not finishing people. You know, he's not a guy who's got a highlight reel. He's had 17 fights in the UFC. 17. And only 3 of them are finishers. He's a grinder. He will grind fights out. He will beat you to the end. Okay, he will beat you out. You know, he's very good. He's good at being evasive, to a point. He's slowly improving his striking. He's got his fundamentals in place. He's very good with his fundamentals, with his basic striking. He's not doing anything crazy over the top, which is working. You know, if you can get the basics right, the rest will fall into place for you. I personally don't see though. I see Anthony Johnson hitting Ryan Bader, and I think when he hits him, I think he's going to have a really tough time handling it. I think Ryan Bader will have an even tougher time getting Anthony Joshua down as well. So on the feet, it's going to be a hard day for Ryan Bader. I feel like he fights too short. He's not got a long enough reach. I feel he's too compact, so he has to come in close to land the strikes. And I think with Johnson, he showed against Gustafsson, when you come in to close that distance to get that strikes landed, he will throw leather and it will hurt. I can definitely see possibly being due to that. I think you might see Ryan Bader coming in. Done it against Machida where he got dropped. I think he might do it again. So that's something I will see, possibly see happening. And that's pretty much it for this week. Again, I want to give a massive thanks and a massive props to Andy, Dustin, Julius and Yohance. Give them all a like, follow, all that palaver. And yeah, great guys to come on. Great to have them on. I'll be back next week. Mike again has been on a bit of R&R. So let's see who we get on next week. I know I've already got lined up a handful of good guests. So fingers crossed I'll get even more.
And we hope you all enjoyed this week. We certainly did. We had a great time. And we just want to get you, before you go, jump on your social networking sites and give these people a follow. We have
MMA Scotland.
We have on Facebook UFC Wreckage. Also, their website and Twitter is MMA Wreckage.
We also have MMA UK, and their Twitter handle is We Are MMA UK.
On Facebook, we have Fighting and MMA.
And on Facebook and Twitter, we have The Real MMA Talk.
And then last but not least, on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, they're funny. They talk about MMA. It's funny MMA. Jump on. They'll give you a giggle. And let's finish off with thank you very much, everyone. We will be back very soon, won't we, Mike?
Yep, definitely. Thank you very much and goodbye.